Cooper Douglas here in the studio. I'm joined by a special guest from the West Central Crisis Center. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Michelle Weber, and I'm the Executive Director of West Central Crisis and Family Support Center, providing supports to the central west of Saskatchewan and the central east of Alberta. And thanks for having me.
So we brought you in here. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff going on with evacuees and in Kindersley in general. But one thing you guys are organizing is this little toy drive. So maybe just share some details on that. It's coming up soon. So
Yes, it is. It's actually ongoing right now. So what we've done, as we know, our community has received evacuee community members from the fire response for the province. We've welcomed those individuals, and those individuals have come into Kindersley looking for safe haven and looking for a temporary residence from an unsafe community right now. Very, very important that we're understanding that displacement trauma of individuals that do have to exit their communities at a very rapid pace is intense, it's overwhelming. It's incredibly uncomfortable, and we just want to make sure that we can wrap supports around them that are helpful and not necessarily overwhelming. So one of the things that happened was this is a provincial response coming from the province for the safe evacuation of individuals, and we want to be mindful that we're taking our partnership lead from the province. So the province has a leadership team here that's providing supports to the evacuees and doing that from multiple layers of government. We have asked them how we can support and how we can create resources for the evacuation community. And we've been given partnership instructions on how and what we can provide. So leading off that, you mentioned the toy drive. One of the things that happens is when people are displaced into a smaller space like a hotel room, whether it's fire-related flood or whether it's emergency, any kinds of emergency, that space can be quite small. So it's great for providing basic necessities of life, sleep and the food and clothing and those kinds of pieces, safety net, security pieces. Although you can get what we call cabin fever. The walls get a little bit close. It gets to be a little bit tight. You've got the stress of your relocation, plus you also have that space that's not yours, not familiar, and you're trying to make it home, a temporary home. So one of the things that happens is when the province is providing all the basic necessities of resources, then what we try to do as a crisis center is complement that role with the services that we can provide. So we are running a toy drop and a toy drive. So the way that we can do that is from Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. The crisis center is wide open to receiving toys, activities, coloring, crayons, Play-Doh, activities that could occur for a small age child all the way up to a teenager, and then be able to provide them some resources in like a tight space like a hotel room. Keep their minds busy their bodies, balls, things that they can play with outside, activities like sidewalk chalk, things like that. So the crisis center has taken on a role of partnership, and we are receiving toys, activities, and things that could keep the kids busy. And we're receiving those items at our new location of 105 Colton Drive, right behind the Walmart. And the drop-off times are Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. We have already seen some of the toys and the activities come into us. We've had donations this morning after the press release went out from the town. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, toy drop at the crisis center, and then we're creating the distribution of those items to the evacuated families based on the age of the kids and the desire of the parents.
That's all terrific information just for kind of what you're looking for and everything. So that's just one piece of the puzzle, though. Mm-hmm. So what other resources are you guys offering? Maybe what's needed, and just kind of maybe just piggybacking off some of the rest of the town's efforts. What can you share there?
Yeah, as well. The other things that we're seeing and that I'll speak to is that West Central Crisis does have an emergency response team, a traumatic response team, and so we are holding 24-hour support for the evacuees that runs through the night. So for those that are experiencing high stress, a little bit of panic, they have special needs, they've got requests that can't be matched, the parental stress of being displaced with your children, things like that, the worry from home, being able to acquire information about what's going on in their home communities and things like that. So over the course of the nighttime, we're actually providing crisis support and stabilization for those that are having trouble sleeping or not able to kind of sort out what their needs are. And then we're tag teaming in our partners in the daytime. So we have partnership with SHA, with mental health and addictions supports, and the different departments that are offering those resources. Emergency supports like our ER. We're also liaising with RCMP for the safety and the security of all our visitors. We are absolutely partnered with the town of Kindersley because the town of Kindersley is supporting the evacuation community from their lens and with their resources. So our resources that we're delivering is crisis and stabilization supports to the evacuees from a traumatic perspective through the night, because sometimes the night is a little tough. The way that our community can support. So what you've heard me say is that we've got a hub. It's a provincial response. Crisis Center has a role of providing the toy drive as well as the crisis and trauma response. The town is a partnership, and they have a website which is indicating how they're trying to support the evacuees as well. Great partnership. SHA is providing support. Our CMP and all of our emergency resources are aware and able to lend a hand. The evacuees themselves, sometimes when you are evacuated from your community, well, the biggest thing that you need is things to do. So things to do, activities to go to, events in the community that are aware. If they're aware of events going on in the community and they've got places to go, they've been visiting our pool already, the aquatic center. They also are taking part in some communal-based activities going on. The community is very, very welcome to propose or suggest activities that could allow for an invitation to come from the evacuees. We know that the community is very, very, very generous, and we know that the community, there's lots of requests on how to help. How do I help? What do I give? How do I donate? The evacuees, what the evacuees need is, number one, they need some clothing options, and they also need those toys and resources and some of those pieces to keep their kids busy. The other basic needs supports are in place and being able to be allocated to that community right now. So the town of Kindersley actually has posted 2 pieces of information. One is directing the toys to us with all those particulars. The other is showcasing an event where a clothing drop can occur. And I would direct the community to the town of Kindersley website so that they can understand when that clothing drop is going to occur. And then there will be a future shopping opportunity or the ability for these evacuees to acquire those items in a very organized fashion. So clean, gently used, potentially new, anything that, keeping in mind that you would want to clothe your body with if you were displaced from your home and didn't really have your resources. Check the town website because they are great partners in putting that information out, and they'd be able to guide the community on where to send the clothes and where to send the toys.
Awesome. Yeah. So a lot of that is very Kindersley centric, and I know this is kind of a hub and whatnot, but one thing people might not, you are based in Kindersley, you got this big, beautiful building in town, but you are the West Central Crisis Center. So what are you hearing maybe from around the region and just, being, because again, a lot of people might not know, but you serve the entire West Central area. So
that is correct. Yes. So the West Central Crisis serves a service area that our northern border would be bordering up with our North Battleford communities. Our border to the east is Saskatoon. So we go out as far as the border of Saskatoon. Going to the south, we have a south border of Swift Current. So our service area just dips just below the river, and then we border up with Swift. We do run services all the way to the border of Saskatchewan and Alberta. And the Alberta side, we actually provide traumatic events response services to the central east side of Alberta. So we work with emergency-based responders for any kind of critical event response and being able to support our Alberta partners with response that way. The beauty of serving a region, an area of the province, is that we get to hear from different communities the necessity and the encouragement of what we need as far as programming, what communities need as programming, in reverse, how communities want to assist the center in the delivery of services to such a large area. I think everybody's got their hearts and their minds, pardon me, they've got their hearts and their minds on the evacuee community. And they understand from a very mindful perspective that that's got to be a really tough situation that's very stressful. So we do have some of our Central West communities that are outside of Kindersley calling in, asking how they can support, who do they contact so that they don't create overwhelm, and the resources that they can bring in. They're wanting to do so, but they're wanting to do so in a very orderly fashion. And that's really, really, really mindful because we also don't want to add to the overwhelm of our evacuation community.
Okay, and so because of that reach, a lot of people could be hearing this from all over. So just with this terrible situation right now, is there another message you maybe just want to leave us with? Just any important information that can help people get through these tough times? Yeah,
well, one of the things that I do want to express is a gratitude to everyone involved, because when such a trauma-based event occurs and when you have this many people trying to mobilize and move communities with high needs and high stress, the province of Saskatchewan has to work together in order to support that. So whether it's different levels of government or whether it's regional areas, like ours is a great example, being able to connect with the right people and extend helpful offers, but then also be able to direct those in really, really useful ways. That's something that we need to be mindful. It's a stressful environment. We need to be mindful that it can be a very chaotic event, and so it needs direction and order and a lot of support. It's incredibly stressful for those that are on the move. So sometimes just being patient, just being mindful, making sure that your information that you're receiving is accurate and it's coming from good sources. If you want to lend a hand, make sure you're connecting with the point people of your request, and just making sure that Saskatchewan can be able to support our displaced evacuees as well as our communities that are receiving those with kindness, patience, mindfulness, and of course the Saskatchewan support that's always there.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for your time. If anyone's hearing this on the radio, you can go to West Central Online and find some of those resources online. If you're listening to this on the webpage, you can find some of those related stories talking about the weekend events. And it's gonna be a process, but it's a large team tackling it. And again, just thanks to everyone involved and you guys for heading that up. And it's our duty to share the message and just do what we can.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.